How's it going, everyone? My name's Famous Val. Welcome back to the Rabbit Hole Reacts. We've got another most amazing top 10 video. Top 10 scary Paris urban legends. I thought would be quite interesting. So, yeah, let's just dive right in.
Hello and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today we're talking about the top 10 scary Paris urban legends. Ah oui. I would like to go back. The last time I went to Paris I was 19, so I'd be keen to go again. Although I have to admit, these urban legends are pretty terrifying. As much as I want to go to the Moulin Rouge and the Pompidou and the Louvre, maybe there are a few places on this list that I absolutely need to stay away from. Let me know if you guys have ever been to Paris, and let me know where your next vacation's going to be.
I'd love to go down
in
the catacombs.
section down below. Also, while you're there, why don't you leave a thumbs up? And if any of you are looking to connect with me on Instagram, my link is in the description box. At number 10, we have the legend of the barber and the pastry cook. Forget the demon barber of Fleet Street, meet the demon barber of Rue de la Marmozettes. Long before Sweeney Todd was slaying the people of Victorian London, a barber and a pastry seller had a little understanding. The barber would slit the throats of some of his customers, often students of the Notre Dame. He then allegedly had a flesh hatch leading to the cellar. His neighbour, a popular pastry chef who made pies for high-flying Parisians, including King Charles VI, would then factor them into his food. One day, a German student called Alaric visited the barber and was to be the unscrupulous duo's next victim. Alaric brought his dog along with him, and the canine sensed that something was amiss. He barked non-stop until people came to investigate what was going on. When the police arrived, they searched the barbers and found out about the whole affair. They found the cellar and the tools used to skin the corpses and cut up their flesh. The barber and the pastry chef confessed and were burned alive in a cage for their crimes. Coming in at number 9, we
I almost wonder if Sweeney Todd was based off that. That's scarily accurate.
have the ghost of Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison of The Doors is a famous member of the 27 Club. He was a rock and roll star and the frontman of the American band The Doors. There is much to be said about Jim, his life and his legacy, but he is perhaps best summarized as sex, drugs and rock and roll personified. In the last few months of his life, he moved to Paris, where he seemed to find some semblance of peace. Sadly, on July the 3rd, 1971, he was found dead in the bathtub of his and his wife Pamela Courson's apartment. He was buried in Père Lachaise Cemetery, a popular tourist attraction. Also buried there are Oscar Wilde and Edith Piaf. Anyway, back in 1997, an American rock historian, Brett Meisner, went to visit Jim Morrison's grave and he took this picture. Oh look, it's Jim Morrison's ghost. The picture was evaluated and declared to be legit. Morrison is in one of his classic poses, and it gets even weirder. Meisner was plagued with bad luck since visiting the cemetery. Coming in at number 8, we have the mysterious man in the black coat. I love a fun time ghost, and the man in the black coat seems to be just that. He's bringing good times to those that dare to take up his offer. In 1925, Jean Romier reported a strange evening that began at the Jardin de Luxembourg. He said that a polite man in a black coat asked if he wanted to come to a chamber concert at his home. Totally all about the fun times, Romier decided, you know what, why not, and he went for it. He enjoyed an evening of music and poetry, albeit slightly haunting. After he left, he realized that he had unfortunately left his Zippo lighter in the apartment, so he decided to pop back and get it. When he returned to the apartment on the Rue de Vaugirard, a neighbor heard the knocking and informed him that the apartment had been unoccupied since its previous tenant, a musician, passed away 20 years ago. The legend of the man in the black coat has been going strong for nearly 100 years. While others have reported seeing the man in the Jardin, few people have accepted the offer of a private chamber orchestra. What would you do? Coming in at number 7, we have the Street of the Fishing Cat. There is now a very narrow road in Paris called Rue de la Chatte Quipeche, Street of the Fishing Cat. This alley was built in 1540 and used to be called the Street of Ovens. It leads straight on down to the River Seine. Now, the legend goes that in the 16th century, an alchemist lived along this street with his jet black cat. The cat, it seems, was a very gifted fisher who was able to catch fish out of the Seine using just one swipe of his paw. The cat was often spotted prowling by the river looking for fish. Local students took a disliking to the cat, deciding that they thought it was evil. For this reason, the 3 students decided to murder the cat, then throw its body in the Seine. Weirdly, once the cat disappeared, so did the alchemist it belonged to. Some years later, a man that looked a lot like him was regularly spotted walking along the Seine, looking like a ghostly traveler. Others reported spotting a phantom cat still pouring at the water hoping to catch a fish. Coming in at number 6, we have the Forest of Rambouillet. The French Forest of Rambouillet is home to a classic urban legend, the one about the boyfriend dying while the girl's in the car. It's actually told in so many variations across the world. Now, this variation says that a couple were driving through the forest in the 1960s in search of a spot to park up and make out. Don't call Paris the love capital for nothing. Once they found a spot, they hooked up. The guy gets out of the car to go for a pee. When he doesn't come back within 5 or so minutes, the girl gets nervous and starts looking around for him. Getting out of the car, she sees a scary-looking man in the shadows and what she thinks is the glimmer of a knife. She gets into the car and tries to drive away to look for her boyfriend. Then she hears some muffled sounds and some squeaking and a tapping on the roof of the car, but she drives off. Now, when she looks in her rearview mirror, she sees her boyfriend hanging from a tree. The tapping was his feet on the roof of the car as she drove off. Sadly, when the car went forward, she pulled the plinth out from underneath him and ensured his death. Brutal. This urban legend is retold so many times across the world, though I don't know if it's true. Coming into number 5, we have the iconic legends of the catacombs of Paris. Put it this way, we could do a whole top 10 on the legends of the Parisian catacombs. Under the city of Paris lay the remains of more than 6 million people spread over 200 miles of intricate tunnels. Only a very, very small section is open to the public, which has set imaginations wild. Apparently, the creepy underground body of tunnels were built to deal with the city's problem of overflowing cemeteries. I think about this a lot, actually. As populations increase, more and more people die. If they aren't cremated, their bones are left in the ground. Like, how long is it going to be until the ground is full? Are we going to start using bodies as building materials? That could be creepy, but efficient. Anyway, because of the mystery and morbid nature of the catacombs, many rumors have cropped up as to what is happening down there. Some say they're home to albino alligators. Others say they're the home of a number of serial killers, the meeting place for Masonic cults, a spooky gathering spots for Satanists. Some even say that they housed the Nazis during the Second World War. Speaking of Nazis,
I doubt
have
that.
a listen to this urban legend from the Pont Marie Bridge at number 4. World War II era Europe was filled with treachery, sacrifice, and heartbreak. There were spies everywhere. Legend has it that during the French occupation, a Parisian woman was married to a resistance fighter, but was having an affair with a Nazi officer who she was using for information to feed back to the resistance. Now, I don't know if you know Paris in the winter, but it is cold. So cold. One night the woman was meeting her husband on the Pont Marie Bridge, but he never showed. She waited and waited for him, but he never came. Sadly, as she waited for her husband, the love of her life, she froze to death and died on the bridge. Her phantom is said to still haunt the bridge to this day, and
Yep,
people have
that's
reported seeing
unfortunate.
an apparition of a sobbing woman. When they go to console her, she disappears. Going down from the bridge right into the River Seine, coming in at number 3, we have the bodies of the River Seine. The River Seine is one of the most famous and romantic bodies of water in the world. Endlessly romanticized in paintings and literature, the river is synonymous with the city of love. That being said, it's actually kind of janky. The water has flowed through the city for over 1,000 years and has seen its fair share of sewage, so much so that some people refer to it as an open sewer. That isn't the only thing scary about the Seine, though. Locals will tell you that it is filled with bodies, and this one urban legend, unfortunately, is pretty true. Not only is the Seine a popular suicide spot, it is a popular body dumping spot for murderers. In 2008, supermodel Katusha Nian's body was pulled out of the water after she fell into the river drunk. In 1961, the Parisian police carried out a massacre on the pro-national liberation front. Now, they killed between 40 to 200 people and dumped their bodies in the river. The mass murder was covered
Holy
up,
crap.
but the bodies of the dead Algerians still remain lost in the water. Coming in at number 2, we have the Red Man of Tuileries Palace. Different variations of this urban legend suggest that the Red Man spotted outside of Tuileries Palace in Paris was a local butcher, whereas others say that he was a henchman of the 16th century Queen Catherine de Medici. Both legends agree that he was named Jean and that the Queen had him killed because the man held way too many of the crown's secrets. A while after his death, a man was spotted in blood-red attire wandering the gardens. One man who spoke to his ghost, Neuville, reported that Jean swore vengeance on the Queen and the crown. Now, aristocrats of the palace thought that he was a sign of bad luck to come, and indeed, Marie Antoinette supposedly saw him shortly before meeting the guillotine. Napoleon, however, quite liked the fellow and would talk to him about war strategy. Those visiting the old palace today occasionally spot the man in red. it. Finally, coming
Yeah,
in
right.
at number 1, we have one of the most famous Parisian urban legends. We have the Phantom of the Opera. Not only is it in my top 5 favourite musicals of all time, but Phantom of the Opera is actually based on a real-life urban legend. Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical is based on a novel by Gaston Leroux, but in turn, Leroux based his novel on real-life reports of strange goings-on at the Opera Garnier. The famous opera house, now home of the National Opera, was built in 1875 and reportedly is haunted by a number of ghosts, but one in particular stands out. The Phantom. In 1896, one of the theatre's grand chandeliers did indeed break, fall, and kill someone, like in the novel and the musical. Strange reports of otherworldly goings-on still exist to this day, and it was said for a long time that the theatre was built on some kind of watery underground layer, like the Phantom's. In actuality, this is kind of true. The Opera House is built on a water tank, and who knows what's happening down there in those watery depths. So guys, that was the top 10 scary comparisons.
That was interesting, to say the least. I'll leave a link for top 10 down below. Go check them out. Go give them a follow. Yeah, we might have to do some more. I want to do the other scary sounds, I think it was called, or something like that. Outside of that, have a good morning or day, night, whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you in the next video.